Hello and welcome to another episode of Not a Life Sentence. My guest today challenges societal beliefs that normalize pain with aging. She is on a mission to give people physical freedom, no matter their age or physical issues.
Jana.
Barrett, thank you so much
Mhm.
for being here. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you, Carla. Thank you for having me.
You are joining us from New Zealand,
I am, yeah, from the capital,
from the
Wellington.
capital. Nice. You've got a very nice background there.
Yeah, that's the Wellington Harbour Heads.
Very nice. Jana, what do you do and how do you support people?
I am a fitness and movement coach for women over 50.
Mm-hmm.
And how I support women, I want all women to be able to live a long, vibrant lives where they do anything they desire to do without pain. I essentially love supporting women in becoming confident in their bodies, having bodies they can count on, and becoming unstoppable at
Mm,
any age.
at any age. This is a very big statement.
Mm.
Would you call yourself a rebel? You are always debunking the idea that aging equals pain, even
Mm.
though we hear doctors and physios saying it to their patients.
Mm. Absolutely. I definitely go against the grain of the misconceptions and I would call it a BS advice out there that just because we are 50, 60, 70, 80, we should just put on slippers, make a cup of tea, and stop doing all the adventurous things we have done in our lives. So, yeah, absolutely rebel. I'll take that. Yeah.
And you are a surfer as well,
I am, yes.
and you are in your late 40s.
Yeah, I started surfing when I was 40. I call it my slight midlife crisis. And, I surf with people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So there is a proof that just because you're getting older doesn't mean that you have to get frail and decrepit and just accept it.
Mm. Allow me here maybe to be the devil's advocate. With age, some people stop being active,
Mm,
and therefore they get stiff,
yeah.
and then they have mobility issues.
Mm.
Wouldn't you put this down to aging?
I think that, obviously we can't deny that as we are aging, there is a certain decline.
Mm,
We obviously our bodies are not the same at
yeah.
60, 80 as they were when we were 20.
Mm,
But there is a lot you can do. There is the right type of exercise. And I think that the notion that you use it or you lose it, it's
mm,
very true. We become, as you said, we become older, we're aging, and then we accept that, we should be moving less. Or we should be still training the same way as we did in our 20s. And, that's another kind of path I see women specifically go on. It's either they stop exercising and slow down, or they still training their bodies like when they were 20, which often leads to lots of injuries and stiffness as well.
mm. So I guess what you are saying, even with, the normal aging processes,
Yeah,
we can still do something about it.
absolutely. And I think that it's almost like we need to intensify our effort in terms of exercise as we are getting older. So while most people are giving up or toning down their exercise, I believe that once you reach 40, you need to have a really hard think about what type of exercise you are going to do and what type of exercise is the best way to guarantee you longevity and good lifespan. So there is an health span. So there is our lifespan, which is how long we live, but there is also a health span, which is how long we live a life where we are not in pain, we are not getting surgeries, and we are doing anything that we like to do. And I would like to close that gap because I think, yes, we are living longer. Yes, the average age of a woman in New Zealand, to live till it's 86. But are we living a very healthy, vibrant life till we are 86? Or are we spending the last 10, 20 years of our lives in poor health? And a lot of women do.
Right. Um, and talking about this and the type of training, we have been all hearing that women need to lift weight and they need strength training.
Yeah.
You'd say that women are training like men.
Yeah.
Are you able to explain it a bit and
Yes.
to elaborate on it?
Yeah. So what you said yourself rightly that women need to, and it's everywhere in the media and a lot of science is coming out that women need to strength train. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that. If you want to be avoiding getting frail and getting your bones broken every time you trip and fall, then you absolutely do need to strength train. But there is strength training and there is strength training. There is strength training that, like the traditional gym workouts, the CrossFit classes, the F45, just the traditional weightlifting was developed in the 70s by men in gym as bodybuilders.
Mm,
It really doesn't suit the female body. Our bodies are very different to men. Men can push every single day. They can train the same way every single day. They have a 24-hour hormonal window. So they just go, they recover, and the next day they can do pretty much the same thing. For women, we run on a monthly hormonal window. We have for the women that are still cycling, we have 28 to 35-day cycles. And even women in perimenopause and menopause are still following a certain rhythm on a monthly basis. So that is a huge difference between the male and the female body. And so we need to train our bodies with that thought that we are different over the course of a month, and then we should adjust the training. I also believe that the traditional weightlifting or the really high intensity classes are essentially ruining our joints. It is a training that promotes that stiffness, poor quality of movement, and frequent injuries. So I am a big fan of functional strength training, which is
mm.
quite different.
I find it amazing that you mentioned the cycle.
Mm,
Um, a few months ago, I was listening to a business coach, a female business coach, and she was talking about, she said that she works with her,
mm,
business owners, and she encourages them to work according to their
yeah.
clock, sort of, according to
Hmm.
the month.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand it, but I think it makes sense.
Mm, it does. And that's another thing, we are living in a men's world. We are living in a world that was designed for men by men. So even the Monday to Friday, 9 to 5,
Mm,
doesn't suit our physiology at all because, yet again, men have a 24-hour hormonal window. We have a monthly one. So it doesn't make sense for us to work Monday to Friday. And what I think is, what you're referring to, that you listen to this businesswoman, that's why women love running their own businesses. And I do as well. So I schedule my work and the rhythm of my month to my cycle too. So that's very powerful to
mhm.
know how your body works and when and within the month are your time where you should work really hard and push, and when are the times when you should just rest and do more reflection and slowing down and eating certain types of food as well.
Mm. And how can females be attuned to their bodily needs?
Mm. So, if you are a woman who is still cycling regularly, so following the monthly cycle, then you need to know how your body works and the 4 different hormonal phases that happen within the month, which is the follicular phase, which is the first 2 to 3 weeks. Then there is ovulation, there is luteal phase, and then there is obviously your period or menstruation. So, those are 4 very
Mm,
distinctly different cycles. And ask any woman, and she can tell you certain time of the month she feels energized, happy, is very motivated to exercise, sleeps well, and then ask her about, well, what about some other times of the month? Yeah, I'm not motivated to exercise. I want to eat ice cream and binge watch Netflix. I am grumpy. I am anxious, and I don't sleep very well.
And for those that don't have the cycle anymore, how
Yeah.
can they be attuned to what they can and can't do?
Yeah, yeah. So in the ideal world, if you know how your body feels within the cycle when you're still cycling, that by the time you hit perimenopause, when everything gets a little bit out of rhythm and out of whack, you are able to determine on a day-to-day basis how you're feeling. Why am I feeling so unmotivated to exercise? What are the other symptoms? That I have a good night's sleep? Am I craving chocolate? So ideally, women will have attuned to their bodies and the signals that our bodies are giving us on a daily basis to how we feel. It is a little bit trickier in the perimenopause because, as I don't know if you're going through that, but I'm going through it and it's not an easy road. So that is a bit of a tricky time. But usually, once women get through that and then hit menopause, in menopause, the cycle, the rhythm still happens, but it's not as pronounced.
Yeah. You are a big advocate for the MACE training.
Yes.
What is a MACE and is it only for people with injuries?
No, no, no. Steel mace is for anyone. It is a fitness tool. For your listeners who never seen the steel mace, it is about 1 meter or 3 feet long steel tube with a ball at the end of it, and the ball can be of different weights. So you start mass and light. I love it. All of my clients love it because there is something very warrior-like about it. So the steel mace is essentially a weapon. It's been around for thousands of years. And in like ancient India and Persia, they used to train female and male warriors with it. But it
Right.
goes further.
Let yeah,
Oh, you
let me
found one!
let me just show it. So
Brilliant.
it's all steel, is it? Like metal?
Yeah. It's steel, but you can buy wooden ones as well, which are really fun
Right.
too.
And
Yeah.
my one here is a 4 kilo one. There are different weights.
Yeah, they are. So the 4 kilo is an ideal beginner weight.
Yep.
That's where you start. And the steel mace history goes back hundreds of thousands of years because primal humans used to tie rocks to sticks, and they used it as the first weapon for hunting, for defending themselves, or for, going into battles or fights. So I think there is something very genetically or kind of evolutionary wired into us to know how to exercise with or how to wield tool like this as opposed to a barbell or a dumbbell in the gym.
I got to know of you through Greta, who has been on my podcast, and I know that she is
Yeah,
a client of yours.
she is.
Um, Greta, I got to meet in Sydney, and then we both moved to different states.
Mm,
From what I know of her, she has always been very active. She would run daily, but
mm,
then she had, I think, hip issues,
yeah.
and your MACE training program has helped her to be physical again and to be able to
Mm,
do what she enjoys. Is it really like a cure? Because on your social media, you say, people with knee issues, people with hip issues, people with mobility issues, they need to use the mace.
yeah, absolutely. So my coaching has two different approaches. There is the body weight mobility training, and then there is a steel mace training. There is a lot of similarities between the two. But
Mm,
what I do with most clients, and where we also started with Gretel, was that we started with a mobility because Gretel was a keen CrossFitter when she came to me.
yeah.
She did CrossFit 3 times a week, and so she was very strong and very fit. She probably could outtrain me easily, but she had 18 months of screaming hip pain. So, although, and this is what I see a lot when women do traditional weight training, is that yes, they are very strong. Yes, they are very fit. Yes, they can, you know, zoom through a 45 or an hour long CrossFit class, but they're paying for it in pain. So, where we started with Gretel was we started with mobility first. So, we literally
Mm,
rewired her movement patterns. We strengthen the hip joint. So, in the small stabilizing muscles, we strengthen the ligaments and the tendons. And then mobility training is a beautiful segue into mace training. So, because it is still very movement based, when you're training with the mace, there's a lot of mobility baked into it. There's a lot of strength too, because a lot of pain and injuries stem from strength weaknesses too. And even someone who does CrossFit 3 times a week can still have strength weaknesses, which
mm,
are then loading the joint. So we did a bit of a kind of two-sided approach. We started with the mobility and then segued into the steel mace.
mm. And I am going to have in the show notes links to your YouTube where people can have some mobility and some mace training for free just to see what you really do. Um, you have been running your own business for a while now,
Mm.
and you are a single mom as well.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself from being a business owner and a mother?
So I think having your own business and running your own business brings up a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
It brings up all the lack of confidence or I had to do a lot of healing around scarcity mindset and around, money and charging your worth. I had to really work on my confidence and finding my voice. I was scared, like now I've learned that you have to say and you have to believe in what you say on social media, even if it's going against the grain of doctors and physios and yoga
yeah,
teachers. And that I wasn't like that a few years ago, that I had to find my voice. And I think that because I love what I do and I love getting messages from women who tell me that they are not in pain anymore or that they are learning, adventurous sport in their 50s and 60s. And that really propels me to keep going and ruffle some feathers. And, I get a lot of nasty messages and comments on social media, but
I'm sure.
I just don't care. I really
Mm,
don't care because, as you said, the proof is in the pudding. It's working. It's working for a lot of women. And women generally find me when they've explored a lot of options. I am rarely the first choice. There is a lot that happens before they get to me. So,
mm,
um, that I think in my business is really, that's what gets me out of bed because, owning your own business is not an easy walk in the park. It's hard. It's long hours. It tests you in many different
yeah.
ways. And, I had to do a lot of work on myself as a person,
Mm.
but I wouldn't have it any other way. I often joke that I'm unemployable. I just could not do the 9 to 5. I could not be asking a boss whether I can go home early so I can pick up my kids from school or watch their sports days or spend a day off on their birthdays. I just don't want to be asking for permission. And I think that women don't do that well in corporate world, the Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, 4 weeks of holidays a year. I just don't think it was really designed for women to thrive in. And so now I kind of work, 7 days a week sometimes. And, but at least I'm doing it on my own terms and I can take time when
Yeah,
I can and I'm making a difference in the world and that means everything to me.
definitely. For me, I find the common thing between the both of them, some days the doubts, like
Yeah.
why did I get into my own business? And sometimes, why did I even have kids?
Yeah.
I have two teenagers now, so we are not in
Mm.
a good space, or they don't want to see my face. I just miss when their faces used to light up seeing
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess the doubts whether it is the right choice. But
Mm,
yes, like you have said, I wouldn't have it any other way.
mm,
And yeah, but then again, someone once said, if you don't doubt yourself daily when you are
mm.
running your own business, then there is a problem.
Yeah.
So I
I,
guess we are ticking this box.
mm,
But yeah, there's a lot to learn about ourselves. Like for me,
yeah.
I did work a lot on myself over the years, but I found, some aspects that I wasn't aware that they existed in me.
Mm, mm. And it's like, do you find that it's connecting the dots like you're not charging enough and then you have to trickle back to like childhood and how did you grow up? And so, like certain things and traumas and generational patterns come out in really different ways.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, but it's great. It's great because we are doing the healing
Yeah,
and we are doing the self-reflection and
yeah.
we're growing as people. And I think there is nothing worse than being stagnant and not stretching yourself and getting
Mm,
your comfort zone. And that's why I
yeah.
love working with coaches. Like I don't know if you've worked with coaches and business coaches and money coaches and messaging coaches. Like I found that's a wonderful upside of owning your own business too, because you're constantly upskilling in so many different areas.
Mm. On my good days, I look at it as I am 50 and I have never been 50. This is my first time of being 50. So I am learning a lot about myself.
Yeah.
The good and the bad as well, but there are definitely many good things as well as the challenges, I
Mm.
guess.
And I think that's why I love coaching women in their 50s and 60s, because I think that women really reinvent themselves in
Yeah.
midlife. We start reflecting a lot and we stop people pleasing, we stop kind of conforming to the societal ideas of what we should be like and how we should behave as a 50-year-old woman. And I think that women are rising in such vast numbers. And I think, we're realizing that the late 40s, the 50s, and the 60s is our time because the children are growing up and we have this almost like second lease on second wind on where we changing careers. And I know so many women who are retraining in their late 40s and 50s to, start doing completely different careers or like really going after their own dreams after, bringing up children for 15 to 20 years. So I think it's such a exciting time in women's life. And I think that being strong, physically strong, it's
Yeah.
also supporting your mental strength, your resilience, your confidence. So I think that the exercise can really enhance, a woman's life at this time of their lives.
And this is why really I wanted to have you on to give the message that if you are active, you can continue being active, but the right way. And if you are not active, here are some solutions. You choose what suits you, but
Mm.
you are not stuck, basically.
Mm,
And you
absolutely.
can live a fulfilling life.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is, like, I read this quote somewhere on Instagram that um, when you are healthy, you can have 1,000 problems, but as soon as you lose your health, you only have one problem.
Mm,
That is your health. And I think that people are starting to realize that investing in your health, physical well-being, it's priceless. And I think that's the true wealth. To see someone who is in their 60s and 70s with a surfboard catching waves for 2 hours, that is, to me, that is more wealth than having 5 investment properties.
mm. What do your kids say about you since you've picked up surfing at 40?
They started surfing too. Yeah. I mean, they've always been, I live in New Zealand. We all incredibly active people. I mean, we have this on our doorstep. So most New Zealanders are hiking and surfing and swimming and diving and sailing. And so my children have grown up in this beautiful place and they're all very active. They all do so many sports. So another reason why I want to keep fit and strong is to be able to keep up with them. And,
Mm,
they are now in their late teens, but we've always been a very active family, and sharing that with the children, it's just priceless memories.
yeah, definitely. And you are a great role model for them of
Mm,
growing older and still be able to do whatever you wish to do and be active.
absolutely.
Definitely. So, on that note, if you can give people one piece of advice, what would you say to them?
I would say move every day. Ultimately, it doesn't actually really matter what you do. Like, you find something that you enjoy, whether it's dancing, whether it's walking, like anything. Just do a little bit of mobility though, and then just move your body every single day in some way and celebrate it. Celebrate. We as women are told so much about our bodies, how we should look and how we should, behave, and, the diet culture, and I think that just celebrate your body for what it can do for you, regardless of the shape it
Hmm.
is, and move it every day, even if it's just dancing in your kitchen, while you're making dinner. just just move your body and take some joy. Don't do exercises that you don't enjoy, because that's a colossal waste of time. Find
Hmm.
something that brings you joy while you're moving, and just stick to it and do it every day.
Hmm. What was the turning point for you when you realized that we are training as females like men? Because you were a yoga instructor, and now you say certain types of yoga is not really good for our joints.
Mhm. So I wasn't actually a yoga instructor, but I did yoga for 10 years quite
Right.
solidly
You did it
twice a week.
yourself.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was really passionate about yoga. Yeah, I've changed my mind about yoga. I think yoga was always designed to be an amazing a movement practice for de-stressing and breath work. And I think that in the West, it's being sold as the answer to everything. And I have coached 3 yoga teachers in the recent past. So that to me does not it's not a very good advertisement for yoga, because they have really significant issues with their joints and their spines. And I think that you can absolutely do yoga. And I have a lot of clients who still love yoga, and I probably will still go occasionally to a class. But I believe that there is other forms of exercise that you also need to do to prevent injuries, and that is the strength training. That's what's often missing. Often women do yoga and then do a little bit of walking, but they don't do actually any strength training. So all that passive stretching and holding poses only in one direction, it's not really strengthening the joint for longevity. It's just kind of stretching the muscles. So yoga is fantastic, and I've got nothing against it. And every time I say something against yoga, I get a lot of hate online. And, I understand that, because the people who love yoga really love it. But you need to be doing some form of strength training if you want to do yoga. They
Hmm.
should go hand in hand.
Did you get to this bottom line, I guess, from your own experience, or did you watch others go through physical pain and
Mm.
deteriorate, basically?
A little bit of both. So yoga was great for me because I was a stay-at-home mum for 10 years, and I had my husband had a very demanding career. So I was basically a solo parent for many, many years with 3 young children. So I used to run very early in the mornings, and I used to go to a couple of yoga classes a week. That was all I could do at that point, but I was still in pain. I had continuously sore back and kept getting injured, like kept putting my back out all the time, even though like I felt kind of strong enough, but the injuries were just hideous, and the pain, and looking after small children is, you've had children, is demanding work. It's
Definitely, yeah.
physical, and it's 24/7, 7 days a week. And I kind of thought there must be a better way. And I started my journey in the gym just with weight training. I hired a trainer when my youngest was 2, and it was an amazing transformation. Like, I got so much stronger, so much fitter, but I was still in pain. And
Hmm.
I discovered TACFIT, which is a US fitness system that introduced me to mobility, and I was kind of like, yeah, that's the missing piece. It was
Mm.
the mobility was the missing piece. And then I completely transitioned to more functional training, more because the weights are very two-dimensional. There is only like up and down movement, side to side, forwards and backwards. Whereas with the mace, you can do so much more. It's like a dance, it's like martial arts. It's a little bit of yoga in there too. It's a really beautiful blend. And I'm busy, and you probably know that, Carla, that, running a business and parenting children and doing all the things. Like, I don't have an hour a day to go to the gym somewhere, or hour and a half. I sometimes don't have an hour to go to a yoga class. I need something that's really fast, really potent, and then gives me everything that I need: the strength training, the mobility, the cardiovascular fitness, and a bit of fun. So that's what I probably love about the mace even more than I can just step out into the garden. And if I
Mm.
only have 10, 15 minutes, I can get everything I need just from that.
Mm. Right. If you don't mind me asking, what is the price range for your programs?
Mm. So my programs start, obviously you can download free resources. I have a ton of free resources on
Mm.
YouTube and hip mobility routines and all sorts of things. But my programs start at 22 US dollars. So, and
Okay.
people get transformations from that. Yeah, it's a 7-day mobility challenge. It's a 10-minute videos, and people get amazing transformation. And then obviously I have the whole range all the way to private 6 months containers for people, for women that really want, big, powerful transformations.
Mm.
But I would say that I have a program for every price point, every budget.
You have just sold your house.
Just selling it at the moment, yeah.
How scary is it, and how scary does the future look?
I think the divorce was scarier 9 years ago.
Mm.
It's a big change, but I think I'm optimistic and positive person. I can always see the positives, and it's about new beginnings. Then I think that my children are at a different place now that they were 9 years ago when my now ex-husband and I separated. So as much as I'm going to be very sad to say goodbye to this kind of view, it's just a new beginning. It's just a new phase of our lives. And my son is almost 20, and he's just about to leave home, and it's a very transitional time in our lives. I don't have small babies that are
Mm.
dependent on me 24/7. I have now 3 teenagers that are forging their own lives and paths. So I think I've got only a very short amount of time with them, and I'm just going to enjoy it regardless of where we live. I mean, home is where the people you love are. So,
Mm. True.
and we've been here 20 years. So I've had this beautiful home for 20 years, and it's just about, standing on my feet. But saying that, am I terrified? Heck yeah. It's terrifying. Change is terrifying,
Definitely. Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, so no,
Yeah.
we'll be fine.
But look, when you look back at the 4 decades that you had been alive for,
Mm.
you have been through many changes, and you were able to go through them successfully and standing
Mm.
tall. So this is just another change.
It's just another change. Yeah, you're so right, Kyla.
How can people get in touch with you?
So you can find me on social media, probably the most active on Instagram, and you can find my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, just send me a message, send me an email through my website. I have a website too where you can have a look what I do and what I'm about and read a little bit more about me. Yeah, if your listeners have questions for me, just send me an email or a message on Instagram, and I love talking to women all around the world, so I will answer your message regardless of what it is.
And you do support men as well.
I do, yes, absolutely, yeah. So in my online business, I tend to have mainly women. It's just easier to talk to.
Yeah.
Because I know, I'm 48, so I know the challenges of women in their 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond. But I have a face-to-face business in Wellington, and I coach quite a few men, and I have coached many men in my career, and I do enjoy it. Yeah, I don't, discriminate against men, but it's women that I'm probably the most passionate about.
Jana Barrett, thank you so much for making the time more so in this time of your life where you are busy, you are selling the house, you are moving. What is next for you professionally?
Yeah. So I'm at the moment giving up my face-to-face business because I want to have space in the new house for that. So that's a huge change because some of my clients have been with me for years and years. So that's a big change. So I'm going fully online. So that's a huge step, obviously, getting used to living in a new place and just supporting more women in my online programs a little bit more. And I want to learn how to nose ride on my surfboard. So that's on the cards. I'm going to do a course in just after Christmas. So that's a bit of a personal goal because why not?
Because why not? Well, I love that, you still have projects in mind and you are still
Yeah.
dreaming and achieving some of your dreams. So
Mhm.
why not? Definitely. Thank you so much and please take care.
Thank you so much for having me, Carla. I really appreciate it.